Hello, I am the real-life fake wizard. Pokémon Pokopia launched exclusively on the Nintendo Switch 2 on March 5th, 2026. This is a cozy resource management crafter game, co-developed by Game Freak and Koei Tecmo. It has been almost a week now that this game has been out, and it's breaking the internet for some good reasons, and because it has to do with Nintendo, there are of course some bad reasons too. This game clocks in at $70 in the United States. Physical editions are game keycarded, and yet everyone playing it is saying this game is amazing. Well, I've played it, and I think it's impressive. And overall, it's selling in such high quantities that you physically cannot get the keycard edition in stores throughout most of the United States. This game was entirely sold out on release day in major cities, my own included, and then once the word got out about how loved this game was, it started selling out across all major retailers. It is March 10th at the time of recording this, and restocking timelines across the entire United States extend weeks to over a month depending on where you shop. By every measurable standard, this is a successful product. Critics praise it, players praise it. It is selling faster than supply can meet demand, and yet it is also a case study in how a corporation can undermine the goodwill of an excellent product through the business practices attached to it. Pokémon Pokopia is simultaneously one of the best Pokémon experiences in years, and also is a vehicle for sales practices that a growing portion of the gaming community considers predatory. And I think for most gamers and parents out there who've been thinking for a long time, allow me to answer this question in this video. Is this game worth buying a Switch 2 for? Today's indie game shoutout is Kill Knight, an ultra-responsive arcade-inspired isometric action shooter. Condemned to eternal sufferance, deep within the voids of an eldritch arena, you must wield an arsenal of devastating weaponry to obliterate swarms of otherworldly horrors. To learn more about this and hundreds of other indie games, visit our free indie game discovery network, fakeportal.com, or scan the QR code on your screen. Now back to the video. To kick this off, I want to explain my personal experience and then go into the overall Nintendo dilemma. I do not own a Switch 2. I spent nearly the whole weekend with a friend who does, and we basically steamrolled the whole game. Part of that included swapping the controller back and forth as we played through the 4 main zones, and then using the in-app game share mode, which allows Switch 1 users to log in from their Switch device. We worked together to build and dig through the Pallet Town zone. This game is addicting, man. If you like Animal Crossing, it's very hard to go back to Animal Crossing after having played this. There's just so much more that's available to do in this that Animal Crossing just doesn't have. The build features in this that are most comparable to the Dragon Quest builder system is ridiculously fun. The gameplay loop of building habitats to spawn Pokemon, and then working with those Pokemon to get bigger and better resources to then spawn other Pokemon is fun to a point where you will blink and 8 hours are gone from your day. As a lifelong Pokemon fan that grew up in the age of Gen 1 30 years ago, oh my gosh, I'm old. This game brings with it a fantastic, refreshing story, okay? Unlike other spin-off games like the Mystery Dungeon series, which takes place in its own kind of Pokemon universe, Pokopia is a post-apocalyptic future of the main Pokemon world. You play as a Ditto with the quest of rebuilding a version of the Kanto region that the humans no longer live in. You will find lost and sleeping Pokemon and give them new homes. That's the mission. It sounds ridiculous, but I swear it's fun. Look, most of the Pokemon games since maybe Black and White have middling and insignificant stories in them. If we look at Sun and Moon, Sword and Shield, the characters spend so much time talking, but they're talking at you. It's very hard to care about any of those stories. I haven't replayed Sun and Moon because the opening act is so text heavy and I don't care about button mashing through all the dialogue options again. Same thing with Legends Arceus actually. That game was a blast to play through, but the story was weak and I don't like any of those characters. And thankfully, unlike those games, the characters in Pokopia are almost all very interesting. The chat sequences never overstay their welcome. Each Pokemon in the game has their own unique personality, and because there's no voiceovers, if you're like us, you'll find yourself reading the dialogue and voice acting what the Pokemon are all saying.
Water. What's with this place? Where's the water?
This plot tall grass is kind of small, but I like it. I love leaves and grass and stuff, and living by lots of green things.
What's that now? You're saying it won't rain? The humans were making a real fuss, you see, so I headed down to the quiet ocean floor for a good long nap, but I suppose that made it stop raining here, huh?
Oh, I have an idea. You're a diddle, right? So you should be able to transform into me. Then I could teach you how to fly like this.
I don't want to spoil the story here, you can enjoy it yourself, but this game's Pikachu and the lore behind her was such a great idea and something never seen before, I think, at least in the mainline games. As we get to the Nintendo-specific stuff, I want to come to this conversation as someone who has spent a lot of time processing and analyzing all the terrible things gaming companies do and how developers, content creators, and journalists all villainize gamers who just want good games, right? Playing this game and being able to just lose yourself in it was so refreshing that for the first time in a while, it kind of hit me. Like, okay, I think I understand a little bit better now, or at least I can empathize with a bit more the position that some of the die-hard psycho Nintendo fans take. I may not agree with them often, or at all, and they drive me insane and hit me with death threats more than any other fandom community, but at the core, I can empathize with the idea of just wanting to play good games. Pokemon Pokopia happens to be a good game. However, the quality of Pokemon Pokopia and the credit of development does not really belong to Nintendo or Game Freak. This game was developed by Koei Tecmo's company Omega Force, a subsidiary that is known for developing the Dynasty Warrior series, the Dragon Quest Build series, Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes, which was a banger by the way, and now Pokemon Pokopia. Most of my praise for this game belongs to Omega Force and not Nintendo at all. Nintendo is the publisher, distributor, price setter. It determines the format and controls the platform it runs on. Every business decision surrounding how this product reaches customers is a Nintendo decision, and those decisions form a pattern that when we examine closely and collectively constitutes a case for, debatably, predatory commercial behavior. Pokopia's physical edition is sold out in Nintendo's game key card format. The physical card that is sold out everywhere contains no game data. It functions as a license key. The complete game, which is only 6.2 gigabytes, must be downloaded from Nintendo's servers upon first use, and then you must keep the card inserted into your system while the game is running. This format eliminates every traditional advantage of physical media, which is a sentiment that has long been shared about the game key card controversy since its inception. To use this product, an internet connection is mandatory for the initial download and then any future reinstallations. And you will need to have access to Nintendo's servers, which they themselves have confirmed might not always be available in the distant future, which means this game might have a shelf life and it doesn't last forever. The install size of Pokopia could fit on a standard Nintendo cartridge, yes. The decision to use a game key card instead is a manufacturing cost reduction. Flash memory chips for full data cartridges are expensive, of course. Licensed key cards are not. Nintendo has made it clear that they want to shift their entire business towards game key cards in the long term, but getting there is a challenge. A lot of people have moral concerns about having every Nintendo game keycarded for fear that these games could become lost media when the inevitable servers shutdown happens. This moral concern, however, seems like it means nothing now. A third-party developed spin-off game just exploded like a nuclear bomb with this thing selling out across major parts of the world. Demand outstripped supply within 4 days in the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, Europe, Australia, and Japan. In a flicker of bad luck for anyone who bought it, Amazon's price briefly spiked to $80 before going entirely unavailable as it was sold out, and then returning back to $70 the next day. Speculation claims this was the Amazon marketplace causing an error rather than an intentional increase, but you have to remember the world is sensitive to $80 games now, and that's entirely Nintendo's fault. The takeaway here is that Nintendo under-allocated physical supply. Whether this was a deliberate strategy to drive consumers towards the digital purchase, where margins are even higher and the game keycard manufacturing cost is eliminated entirely, or it's a genuine miscalculation of demand, regardless, the result is the same. Consumers who wanted to own a physical copy of this game are waiting weeks to months for restocks, proving that regardless of if it's a keycard or not, Nintendo fans are going to buy it, and they're going to buy consoles to play it if they didn't have them before. My friends, the floodgates are now open and proven to be open for Legend of Zelda, Super Smash Bros., and Nintendo Labo 2 to be game keycard exclusives. This is worth talking about because it matters beyond the individual transaction because of what it signals, right? Nintendo previously stated that the game keycards would not be applied to first-party or Nintendo-published titles. Pokopia happens to be the first major Nintendo-published game to use this format, so the reversal damages credibility. It confirms what many gamers suspected. The earlier assurance was a positioning statement designed to reduce resistance to the game keycard introduction using third-party titles before expanding it to flagship releases. The conditioning theory that Nintendo was preparing the market for exactly this outcome has now been validated. So if we're to zoom out and look at both hands here, on one hand with this Pokopia dilemma, we have a genuinely good game that honors the franchise and legacy that came before. It expands upon that legacy, delivering high-quality gameplay. The game share feature, while missing very important key features and acting more like a demo to convince you to go buy a Switch 2, was still a great experience when you're gathered with other players and trying to achieve specific goals together. Also, let's look at that 6GB point again. Like, yes, this is ridiculous that they couldn't put it on a proper card, but think about how clean this game runs if you've played it. It runs smoothly at 60 FPS. It looks great. We had 0 bugs and 0 glitches. Pokopia is massive with hundreds of hours of things to do, and all of that was compressed and shipped at 6 gigabytes. I think that shows there's something to be said about lots of other games that ship at 100 gigabyte plus in broken and unoptimized states. This game really makes you question, what in the heck is Game Freak doing? Every gaming experience that I've had with Koei Tecmo has been great. Maybe they should take over developing the mainline games. But on the other hand, we have Nintendo's game keycard fiasco. We have dynamic pricing of going up to $80, even temporarily, which should be concerning. We don't have answers for that yet. And also the very strong possibility that they intentionally shipped a short supply of physical products to create a gold rush of people talking about this game, buying this game, and trying to hunt this game down. So you win there, because now everyone is buying your game, sure, but you also validate that customers don't care enough about the game key cards to actually do anything other than complain on Twitter or Reddit or leave negative reviews. Same thing with the Nintendo Switch 2. It's an expensive console, $80 Mario Kart, and by New Year's Eve, the console sold 17 million units worldwide and 14 million units of Mario Kart. Nintendo keeps making these inch-by-inch plays for more power and control, and Nintendo fans keep slurping it up without asking questions and then complaining about me for asking said questions in my comment section. Now, to take it back and answer the question that I opened this video with, is this game worth buying a Switch 2 for? Well, a lot has changed since the last time I talked about buying a Switch 2. This game might be great, it might be a lot of fun, but it is just one game. If you didn't care about any of the previous games that Nintendo released maybe last year, then you need to look at what's ahead And the only thing I personally care about that's on that calendar is the new Fire Emblem game. But still, that would be 2 games total. So you have a $450 console plus $140 for 2 games. Is that worth $600 in the United States? It's even more money in other parts of the world. I still think the answer is no, man. Plus, I still have no love for Nintendo. I think, like, if you have the console already, then yeah, this game is a lot of fun. If you don't have it, I'm gonna give you a caveat, and a lot of people are gonna give me crap about this. There is a very high chance the price is going to go up on the Switch 2 consoles. The RAM AI computer part shortage is still ongoing, and there is a very good chance that the console price is going to increase. On that premise alone, if you were going to get it eventually, now might be the best time before the price increases. Because once that price goes up, there's a ridiculously high chance it is not coming back down. Also, I have a contact in retail logistics that told me they are running low on Mario Kart bundles across their stores, and they're not going to get them back. I looked this up, and yeah, the Mario Kart bundle stopped production back in December, so again, if you're in the market to buy, now might be the time. Although, that's not my endorsement to go and buy it, I'm advocating for you, the gamer, if this is something that you wanted. For me personally, many of you have seen my coverage of the Switch 2 last year. I advocated not to buy it, and that you can choose not to participate in supporting Nintendo even if you stand alone, and I very much still stand by that. Almost a year later, and even after playing this game, the answer is still no for me, dog. I feel the temptation, I do, but there are too many good indie games out there now that I'd like to support with my money instead. Until next time, create, innovate, inspire others to do so as well, and for the love of God, cancel Disney Plus.